It's all too easy to ride in bike parks or trail centres or go on guided rides on predetermined trails and homogenised surfaces. However, the great thing about e-mountain bikes is the ability to explore on unmarked trails. And in this instance, the good old app or the map is invaluable. Now, it's a little bit confusing because an app actually is a map, but it's on a screen rather than on paper form. But the question is, which one is best suited for e-mountain bikers? Now, the purists will tell you that you always need a paper map, but some recent apps are incredibly sophisticated digital navigation tools. For example, on a recent Tour of Mont Blanc, the organisers used GPS to track the competitors. So if a competitor went off course, you'd get a phone call in to tell you needed to get back on track. Yes, it did need some mobile phone signal to do so, but nevertheless, an incredible safety tool that goes with the navigation as well. Plus, of course, you can now actually plug in your phone to your e-bike. So what about the good old paper map? Well, it could be the manifestation of a dream yet to materialise, or indeed it could be a memory of a trip you did in the past. Another side of it could be the fact that it's a very beautiful thing to look at, but as we'll see, as a tool for planning, it is actually second to none. And remember, you can still read a map while riding your bike. Now, maps come in a variety of sizes and scales depending on the country that you live in. And also the level of detail varies from country to country too. Now, fortunately for us here in the UK, we've got a series called the Ordnance Survey. I've got two examples here. Now, the first one is the Land Ranger, which on a scale is 1 to 50,000. So that means 2 centimetres to 1 kilometre, or in old money, 1 inch to a mile. Now, this is a great bit of kit for the e-mountain biker. However, if you're getting up into the mountains in difficult territory, then I think the 1 to 25,000, I can't remember what the conversion is on that, is a fantastic bit of kit to have in your bag. So why are maps so great? Well, I think it's all the detail that you can see there. Such things as the rivers, the lakes, the waterfalls, the cliffs, the mountains, and even things such as pubs and shops, which is great for e-mountain bikers because we're always looking for charging and food. Now, maps are also critical because you can see the lines of communication, roads, and also public access, where you can go to, in other words. So, for example, in the UK, we have all the cycle paths, bridleways and byways, and of course, forestry land, which we'll have access to on all those fire tracks. Another good side of a map is you don't have to rely on a battery. You can actually get waterproof versions, and also it puts things into perspective. Now, when I say perspective, what I mean is it's a really important tool in the bigger picture when you come to planning a route. Now, behind me is a section of map from North Wales to South Wales, and there's a very critical part in the middle of our route where we need to make some big decisions. Now, it's really difficult to do that whilst scrolling through your phone. However, if you've got a map, you can actually see your options. So there's a section here where we can either go to the west or to the east of the lake. And on the map, it shows us all the options in terms of bridleways and byways, and also forestry land, which we can link in to get a continuous route south. So, can a map beat an app as a navigation tool? Well, yes, it can, especially in certain circumstances, because sometimes an app isn't able to identify the continuity between two geographical areas. And the reasons for that are due to government or authorities working to different rules. Now, if I was going into a wild area, I would always use a map over an app. And the reason for this is in front of me. Now, last year we did a ride through one of Britain's last wildernesses up on Knoydart. And as you can see on this map here, there are no lines of communication, no roads, no byways, not even any farm tracks. It is total mountain area. And in this instance, we were in a really difficult position where we were compromised because one of the bridges had been washed away in a storm. So I actually needed to reassure the group that there were actually no alternatives other than the one which I'd planned. There was no way out west and there was no way out north. So it actually was a reassuring tool to show the people, to keep their mood up, to get them up and over this mountain pass, which is actually pretty significant. And it also showed the geomorphology of that mountain, when some people were scared that there was going to be cliffs up there, but this actually reassured them that it was actually round terrain which we could navigate quite safely. Of course, to be able to navigate your way out of trouble relies on map skills, and they actually can take a long time to accumulate. But nevertheless, it is a life skill which you guys certainly need to learn. And after all, at the end of the day, actually being involved in navigating your way, looking at the features on the ground rather than a display on your handlebar, actually makes you more involved in the territory which you're going through. So the bottom line is, I guess you do need the two. But as I said, map reading is definitely a life skill worth tuning into.
Instead of using Steve's old school pieces of paper, I like to keep new school with the technology. So for planning my rides, I like to use GPS and apps. Now, the easiest and the most accessible way of getting out there and exploring new trails is going to be using your smartphone as a GPS device and downloading an app. Now, within these apps, they're going to give you a load of information on the places you can ride. Single track, byways, bridleways, you name it, it's all going to be in there. But there are a few downsides to using your mobile phone as a GPS device. They can eat up your phone battery very quickly, particularly if you're running it as that GPS unit and it's lit up and guiding your way. They're also not very crash resistant, and some phones are costing upwards of £1,000. So having that strapped to the handlebars generally isn't a good idea, and not very water resistant either. So you're going to be out there in the elements, so make sure it is well protected if you are using it as your GPS device. So if you are using your smartphone as a GPS device, I strongly suggest you invest in a power bank. You can stick these in your riding pack, and they are just literally a bank of power you can plug your phone charger into if needed. But what is becoming even more commonplace on e-bikes is the USB power port on some of these bikes. So you can simply charge your phone whilst you ride along. My preferred way of downloading a route is by going onto my laptop and then downloading it onto my Garmin device. These GPS units are designed for being out there. Long battery life, crash resistant, weatherproof, and touchscreen. A GPS unit is very simple to use. You will always know where to go and never take a wrong turn. You also know how far you've gone and what you've got left to do out and about on your ride. You're also going to get very detailed maps on your GPS. They're going to show all the roads, bridleways, byways, etc. that you can legally ride on your e-mountain bike. They're also very small and compact and can be fixed on the handlebars, so you can view where you're going at all times. I mean, you don't have to stop to get your phone out to check where you're going. Then there's the safety aspect. Garmin has an inbuilt crash detector, so when you crash, the computer will send out a notification to your emergency contacts with your location. Although this can be turned off if it's just a small crash and you don't need assistance. And the best part about a GPS? Well, it doesn't go soggy and fall apart in the rain. Strava, the original app that everyone still refers to. Now this is great for exploring, showing all those different trails, and possibly getting those KOMs when you put in the best effort up or down a hill. Until only recently, it was a free app. Now it is a pay monthly subscription in order to get all the features. £4.75 per month unlocks all those features that include leaderboards, route planning, and performance analysis. Definitely worthwhile if you're taking training or taking those KOMs seriously. Then there is Komoot, which is great for planning rides. It uses the open source OpenStreetMap database, which allows you to plan road, gravel, and mountain bike rides. And recently, it's got e-bikes on there. By using a start and end point, Komoot provides all the stats you'll need for your ride: elevation, fitness required, and difficulty. Once on the ride, it will provide all the necessary stats like speed and your distance traveled. It's a great option if you're planning routes into new places, and it will give you an accurate idea of what to expect and how long it will take you to get there. First map region is free, and it's $3.99 per map for the regions after that. Then there is Trail Forks. Now these are downloadable maps with crowdsourced mountain bike specific trails on. No matter where you are in the world, you can download the country's maps, search the area you're going to, and discover all the new trails there. You can view things like elevation, trail grade, the features on the trail, and best of all, what condition the trail is in. And the great thing about this is that it's free. Mission Control is Specialized's own app, so it will only work with their bikes. Now this gives you a great range of custom features for your e-bike. From changing the power outputs in your motor to making sure you get home within the 20% of power you have left in your battery. It has so much going on in this app. It also has navigation settings alongside information from your previous rides. It's also great if you want to check the history of your bike to see how many charges it's done, amongst lots of other things. And it's free. Google Maps, now this is the one that pretty much everyone uses, especially when driving. but it's also very handy when you're out cycling. Whilst it's only a navigation tool, it is very simple to use and will provide you with literal directions. So if you're on roads or marked paths, then it will tell you exactly where to go with no wrong turns. And again, this one is free. First Aid by Red Cross. Now this one is handy to have on your smartphone at all times, whether you're out on your bike or not, because you never know when you might need it. Now this app uses a variety of step-by-step guides and videos, and it will run you through everything that a mountain biker may face out on the trail when it comes to injuries. All of the information is going to be stored on the phone, so it'll work even if there is no signal. Now this could definitely get you out of a sticky situation.
There's actually 2 points I want to mention about an app versus a map. Now, with an app, you'll actually never get lost. And I mean, that's actually the whole charm about going for an adventure, is working it out for yourself. And also, my sort of fear of apps is actually pretty ridiculous, because let's face it, I'm always on about people having a fear of e-mountain bikes, but I'm actually having a fear about losing battery whilst out in the wilderness. So I'm kind of contradicting myself in many ways.